information regarding Netflix that you guys want to tune in for. Additionally, we do have some official information regarding the Equalizer 3, if you will. And of course, we did have that Thor Love and Thunder teaser that hit this at the beginning of this week. So be sure to stay tuned for what we have to say about those stories right now on This Week in Review. All right. Good morning to those of you on the East Coast, guys. Good morning also to those of you on the West Coast as well. I'm your host, Brandon Troy, host and co-creator of Movers and Shakers Unlimited. And of course, as always, I am joined by...
What's up? Jerome Bourgeois, co-founder, co-creator, Movers and Shakers Unlimited. How's everything, man? How you been?
Everything's been good, man.
Enjoying those birthday freebies throughout the week?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Actually, no, I did a few of those things, but to be honest with you, at the end of the day, it was just about like just chilling out and relaxing. Like, you hustle, I hustle as well in terms of, bringing all this cool content to you guys. And sometimes it just, pays just to be able to slow down and just relax. So,
yeah,
I did more of that.
Exactly. Yeah, and get a few freebies on while you're, while it's your birthday. Once a year, you have to. You don't have to use them now. Use them later. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But with that out of the way, as I said, figured we changed it up a little bit for you guys for our show This Week in Review that gives you the rundown of the news bits that have made the rounds in the entertainment industry. And we like to make a point of doing it towards the end of the week. Typically, we have it here on Saturdays. Every once in a while, we'll switch it up and have it on Sundays. But for the most part, you can count on us to have it here on Saturdays. And as I said, we do have a couple of stories that we want to get into it with you guys. So let's just dive right in. So the first story that we have deals with Netflix. Let me pull that up now. So over the course of this week, and this is a story out of Deadline, the co-CEO, Reed Hastings, acknowledged what a lot of people, have been, talking about when it comes to Netflix, the idea that they would eventually have to put, ads in their service. So it looks like, that's the direction that it's going currently. Now, it hasn't officially been, revealed as to how this would be phased in, but it has been, revealed that that's, what the plans are, is to bring in ads, in order to kind of alleviate that cost for a lot of subscribers. So, Jerome, you hear this news and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone else for joining us for our 58th episode. So appreciate that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this is pretty much inevitable. I mean, it's hilarious because, I mean, Netflix is, they pretty much created this space of, the streaming platform, and they dominated. I mean, they were dominating forever. And then finally, other companies caught up, or they're trying to catch up, and they're about to, they're getting there. It's becoming more, dog eat dog, neck and neck with the competition. But yeah, I mean, it seems like Netflix. I mean, and I wouldn't completely, fault them for not wanting to go into that space, because, like I said, if you're dominating and you have a good, system and a good service, and you're, it's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But now that most of the other companies that are in this space, they have that option, and you're that at least gives a consumer a choice to decide how much they really want to pay. And like I said, some people don't mind watching the ads. So I think it's just an added it's definitely a value add, because why not have that option and allow other people who maybe don't want to spend, $9.99. Well, actually went up to, I think it used to be $8.99 for the cheapest one. Now that was like $9.99, but with taxes a little bit more, depending on the state you're in. Maybe they're gonna probably. I don't know what the price point would be, but I would assume they would probably have an ad, tier maybe like around $5 or $6 or something. But it's like you will get new customers that way, and maybe you'll retain them. They might retain them because of that. My thing is, obviously this comes at as news of just they had a really bad recent couple of days in the stock market because they lost. They reported they lost 200,000 subscribers in the first 3 months of this year, and they had they lost like 54 billion in like value because of that news. But I know that they've been Netflix has been. They're trying to I feel like it's a couple of things that have been affecting this. I mean, obviously they're trying to blame. I know they're trying to blame the whole password sharing issue, and I'm sure they're going to address that. But honestly, I think with competition and then also raising your prices, and I get it. Like if they need more revenue, that's a way to do it. But if you're going to raise prices, you're going to lose subscribers. I mean, it's just obvious. Like I just think that's a no brainer. It's like if you're going to raise prices, there's going to be people who are going to be like, I just don't want to pay more for that. I don't mind because I like what Netflix has, but I like the content they have. But that's why I think having an ad tier plan is worth it, because then at least you can have different levels of customers, and still, as long as people are subscribing and they retain those subscribers, it's more revenue. Hey, look. I still think Netflix has, even regardless of the loss in subscribers recently, like I still think if they add this feature and maybe they find some other sources of revenue. I mean, who knows? I know there was some talk that maybe eventually, they might get into live sports, or I mean, who knows? That's what Rick was talking about. Or maybe they find some other revenue source. I feel like there still could be room to grow, but I mean, right now, when it comes to their revenue model, I mean, they rely predominantly on subscribers. And I mean, this would be another source slightly of revenue because it's advertising based, but it's still kind of a similar model. So, I mean, you have to look at some of these other companies like, Disney or HBO, now Warner Brothers Discovery. They make money from they have different revenue. So they're not relying just on subscribers. But since they're catching up, I mean, Netflix they have to continue to dominate or find other sources of revenue, because that's the only way you can really grow. I mean, it's just tougher because of the competition, but I don't have an issue with it. I think more options are better. That's the way I look at it.
So here's the thing, like there are a lot of pieces to this, and I'll start first with what you're saying of Netflix being among those forefathers of what we have with streaming and what we've come to know as streaming. And a lot of things have happened in that time of its start and now where we currently are. For a long time they were the destination when it came to streaming. However, I feel like the next frontier, we talk about trends a lot of time in business, and entertainment is no different, where you have trends of things that a type of content that people respond to. I know we've been talking about it a lot, and I feel like it's going to be the next thing is a lot of content that's related to sports. We have Winning Time. That's a lot of people are enjoying right now, and now we're hearing all these stories about all these projects that are sports related, right? So, and it happens in other ways too. With now we're in the midst of this large superhero era where every platform is trying to find a way to find some type of IP that they can maximize on that is superhero related. We're still in the midst of that era right now. And I know a lot of people are saying, it's going to last forever, but eras, they come.
It's a genre now. I think
they go. What genre? However way you want to shape it, but you understand what I'm saying. And so the same has happened with the streaming. with the streaming era. For a long time, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, we're going to, make our way to this." And now, because I feel like, because of obviously what happened with COVID and a lot of people being at home, it kind of sped up that clock of us getting into streaming and seeing a lot more streamers pop up. And cost is part of it. You have other rivals as well, and I don't think it's just cost, because I feel like, if even if you raise the cause, if there's enough demand for the content that you have, people will still shell out the money to check it out. And it's not to say that Netflix doesn't have a lot of great programming. There's a lot of stuff to enjoy. And I know we were talking about it offline. Stranger Things, being among them, among Narcos, and I can think of plenty of other shows that I enjoy, content that I enjoy from that streamer. But there are a lot of other things to keep in mind too. At one point, Netflix had a lot of those. You talk about superheroes, right? You had a lot of those Marvel shows. They don't have that anymore. They had
Yep.
they let go of those, and now it's exclusively on Disney Plus. So if you want to look at anything that's Marvel related, you have to go to Disney Plus. If you're looking at Star Wars stuff, you're going to Disney Plus. So to have that exclusivity element, even with some other shows like Halo. Like Halo is on, Paramount Plus. Your Star Trek is on Paramount Plus. So like, because of these exclusivity elements, those elements are pulling people away from Netflix. So, if you're able to monopolize on certain, IPs, that's going to help in your bottom line as a streamer, because it's going to allow you to be the only destination where people can check out, that type of content or that type of IP. So I mean, I feel like all those elements go into play. I know that they kind of use the element of cost, but I feel like if you have some things that are exclusively yours, that people know that you are the only destination for those things, and you have more, a lot of those various IPs that are exclusively yours, that's going to play a role and give you a little more leverage in terms of determining whether viewers come to your streamer or not. So, and then on top of that too, another element that I don't feel like is getting enough credit is just that idea of how much money Netflix is spending, on all of their content, of trying to develop, all of these various shows. So it's kind of like a,
Well, that's what
what you
they
call a
have to
toss
keep in
up. So,
business.
exactly, you're shelving
So
out
they
all
need
this
the money.
money. Yeah, you're shelving out all this money. So this money has to come from somewhere. But I think that's really going to be the key. You really have to. They do have some, and I, dropped some of them, name dropped some of them. There are some elements that they have that are exclusively theirs, but I don't feel like they have enough of them that will keep people, coming, versus some of their rivals that have a lot of various IPs that keep them there. And even on top of that too, the other component to that to think of is there are a lot of instances where, because of the landscape that we're in now with films and things of that nature, because you have that component. Giving an example with HBO Plus and WB, because of that theatrical window, a lot, you have that dynamic too. That's a
Yeah, it's
very
going there a lot
attractive.
closer, a lot sooner. So
Yeah,
then they're
it's a
getting the
lot. It's very
exclusive.
attractive. Yeah, it's very attractive to people, because they're like, oh, that was just in the movie theaters, and I meant to see that, but it's on HBO Plus, so let me check it out.
HBO
So
Max.
like,
Yeah,
you don't.
HBO Max. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you don't have that component with Netflix as much as you
But
have
they
with
have it. But they do
HBO.
have movies that like I mean, The Irishman was only on Netflix. I mean, they can
They do,
spend money.
they
They can
do.
spend money on
But I'm
stuff. I mean,
saying,
they
I'm
had
talking about major IPs though.
no
So
I
your
mean, but I
Star
mean
Wars, your Marvel.
but I'm saying that is a major movie with I'm just saying like they have major movies and stuff that they're producing that no one else would. Like they can do more of that. The problem is with some of those properties, like I said, they just can't because if they're owned by someone else. Yeah, I mean, obviously they can't do any DC stuff, they can't do any Marvel stuff. But I mean, if there's some other IP that they buy, I mean, then they might be able to do that. You never know. You know what I think would be funny though, even though I don't think this would happen, but you never know. Never say never. The whole idea of everyone. So supposedly, and this is the trend. I mean, of people cutting their cable and then paying for individual streamers. And the whole point of that is like people seem to be wanting to pay a la carte for certain streamers, and maybe they pay for like 2 or 3 max. It seems like after 3, I think people start saying, "All right, I'm done," because I mean, then it starts becoming the same price as paying for cable and getting all those channels. And like, I personally don't. Uh, I never watched all those shows, all the different networks on cable, so I don't mind just paying for individual streamers. But I'm curious to know if eventually these companies make a deal, which I don't think would happen, but I wonder if eventually these companies might make a deal with like a third party to be like, hey, maybe you could bundle our streamers and, and then charge a certain price, and then maybe they get a cut of that,
Which
which
is
I
what
really
we have,
doubt.
by the way. Which is what you have already right now. You have
Well, I
that
mean,
with
you
Hulu. Yeah, with
Well,
Hulu
no,
and
but that's
Disney Plus
because
right
they
now.
own. No, but I'm saying that's because they're owned by the same company. But I'm just saying,
Yeah,
what if someone third party makes like a deal with even companies that aren't owned, that are separate, and be like,
I hear
hey,
you.
we'll still give you a cut. That would be so hilarious. It'd be like, we just gotta wait. The whole point is people didn't want to pay for everything, and now we're going back. It's pretty much just like it would be like going back to cable, but in a streaming way. I just think it's funny because it's kind of turning into that. If you think about it, like everybody has their own streamer, and everyone's trying to be like, oh, come. There was a story. I mean, we didn't cover it, but CNN had one. CNN Plus. It didn't even last for a month because I guess Warner Media. They were the CEO before the merger completed with Warner Brothers Discovery. Um, that CEO wanted to launch it, but the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery was like, they shut it down because they're trying to integrate everything. So whatever new platform they're going to do, which eventually will probably combine HBO Max with Discovery, they'll include the CNN streamer. But I'm like, I feel bad for the people who were promoting that streamer. It didn't even last like a month. I mean, it's crazy. But I'm just saying, like, that's news programming with documentaries, and it's like, I mean, they were charging like $2.99 a month, so it's not that bad. But I was just like, wow, to me that's like really niche. It's like, I don't know if I would pay $2.99 for CNN Plus, something like that. But if you just really want to see that, if you really like those specific documentaries, or you will get people. But I feel like that's where Netflix I kind of beats some of the other streamers, because they have such a breadth of just a span of such different content, and they're still licensing stuff. I feel like the other ones are kind of catching up now to try to go in that space that maybe weren't before, because you saw like with HBO Max, like they have some reality shows on there, and I was like, HBO never had like reality shows. I mean, they had like documentaries and talk shows like Bill Maher, that sort of stuff. But I mean, Netflix has something for like everybody, like international content, reality shows, movies, limited series, TV. I mean, they have so many different things, something for everyone. So that's kind of, I feel like, where their strength is, and they do have like specific things. I mean, like I subscribed to Netflix originally because of House of Cards, because I love that show. But I mean, that's done now. But they have shows that can do that. But yeah, it still is tough though to compete with like IP that's like people are spending so much money to see in theaters or watch, and then they want to see it at home. I mean, Marvel's, Lucasfilm or DC or whatever, you name it. That's stuff to compete with. But I feel like they still could like have other stuff that you can't find on those streamers that no one's willing to pay for, because the budget's too high. Like I said, like I was saying, like The Irishman, I think they would have to still go in that space and make, produce those types of films or shows that maybe other people wouldn't think of. And they have the comedy specials. Don't front on the comedy specials. Dave Chappelle does very well on Netflix. So,
I hear you. I hear
so, but it's different. But I just think it's kind of funny how where things are going. So it would be interesting to see where it goes from now, because they're gonna have to. I mean, they're gonna have to find ways to grow if they want, their stock to come back and have more people have confidence in them. But I mean, I still wouldn't count Netflix out though, because I mean they're a monster.
We will
But
see, but it'll be interesting to see how it progresses.
yeah,
So moving on to our next story, and this was a story out of Variety. It was officially revealed, and I know it's been for a while. It's been teased, not just by Washington, but also by director Antoine Fuqua, is that we will be getting another installment of the Equalizer franchise. So in the story in Variety, it was revealed that the Equalizer 3 is set to hit theaters on September 1st, 2023. Obviously, it's still early days, so not a whole lot in terms of additional details. Jerome, what are your thoughts on the third installment and likely the last installment of the trilogy that we have for the Equalizer franchise?
No, I'm excited. I mean, I think Denzel, he's badass in that franchise, and this is funny. This is like his first franchise. It's just so hilarious, but also it's very telling of the type of star power Denzel Washington has. Where he has never needed to have sequels. This is like and for this to be his like first, third, film in a franchise, like that just shows how big of a movie star he is. I mean, people go see him in anything, and he keeps switching it up. So, but it's cool though. I mean, this character. I mean, and it's also funny like how he's older, and then he finally like he went on this. It was like him and Liam Neeson have been in like this neck and neck, like old guys in hardcore action movies, kicking butt, shooting it up, and I'm just like, no, I mean, hey, I believe it. I mean, I was having this argument with one of my friends. They're like, I don't know, Denzel's getting older. I'm like, hey, man, whatever they're doing, like, I believe it, man, like, because he's such a good actor. But I was reading an article, Antoine Fuqua was talking about how he wants to take it to Europe, maybe. And I think, yeah, why not? Change the setting. I mean, I think probably should probably be the last one because I don't know how much more. I mean, you could go unless I guess they try to make it like James Bond, which I don't think they should, and like switch it out. I mean, they could do that. They tried to do that with Jason Bourne a little bit and Jack Bauer, but I guess it didn't really work when they switched out like the main character. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they have that Equalizer TV show with Queen Latifah. I haven't watched that, but I mean, I know it did decently or whatever. I don't know what's going on now with it. But no, I like this franchise. I mean, it's like a straight up, vigilante action flick franchise, and if they choose a different setting. I mean, I don't know with plot wise what they'll probably do, but I'm sure they'll think of something. Maybe they'll go further into his past or something. But yeah, we don't really get these types of movies anymore, especially with with bigger stars. Like I feel like the whole era of these vigilante action films, were more in like the 80s and early 90s, and a lot of those stars they're not doing, they're not really as famous anymore. They're doing, the movies that might be coming out like this a lot of times are more like, straight to, well, it's hard to say what's straight to DVD or straight to streaming because like everything goes on streaming now, but you know what I'm talking about. But it's cool seeing like a big star like kind of get into this space a little bit and switch it up, but he switches it up. So that's why I feel like Denzel probably does this too. Cause I mean, he was in Tragedy of Macbeth and he's like, no, I'm gonna do Equalizer. Like he mixes it up. So that probably keeps him like, keeps the acting fun and fresh, and it's a challenge. But yeah, and I like Antoine Fuqua. I think he does a good job, and as a director, he's pretty good. And Denzel, he could bring it. I mean, as long as he can still do the moves, or at his age, I mean, come on. So I'll see it.
See, oh yeah, there we go. No, I hear you. So here's my thing with this franchise. Don't get me wrong, I like the franchise a lot. But the one issue that I had with the franchise that it still irks me is that
I know what you're gonna say.
What am I about to say? Okay.
You called it Steven Seagal-itis, even though I like Steven Seagal.
And I'm not even gonna put it at that level. I'm not even gonna put it at that level. And Denzel Washington is awesome. I love Denzel Washington. Everything that he is, accomplished. As an actor, it's something that is awesome, and that you seek to strive towards in terms of various things that he's accomplished thus far. But with this franchise, it's that idea that I get that he's so dangerous. I get that he has this, I have a very special set of skills, as we were talking about Liam Neeson. But at the same time, like the suspension of belief that he is getting out of a lot of these situations. I know people are going to argue with me in the comments and say, oh, but this happened. Like he did get, wounded here, or like this happened. But no, like all of these things that happen like over the course that he does. And I know you're supposed to, suspend your belief, but come on, like that he comes out and like completely unscathed and just like strolling out of here, like completely like unscratched. And I mean, I get it. Like it's cool. But at the same time, that's why I appreciate the John Wick franchise. It's not that it's not that John Wick is invincible, is that he's relentless. Like he still gets hurt, like things happen to him. He gets hit like with cars and like different things, and he gets, knocked out and various things, and he's presented with all these like, challenges that, seem insurmountable, but that's what makes him cool, is that he is relentless and still finds a way to get out of a situation.
Wait a second. No, I get you,
Okay,
but
I'm
wait a
listening.
second.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
John Wick
Yeah.
Chapter 3. What happened at the end? He fell
I
off
got
that
you.
building.
I
I'm just
got you.
saying.
I got you.
I mean, I get you, but I'm just like,
I'm just saying overall.
I
Like,
think I don't even think it's like, I think that's just a Hollywood thing or obviously a writing thing. Because no, I agree with what you're saying to a certain extent, even though I feel like that's kind of like what the characters. Yeah, like to me, the only thing that really
like
pissed
the
me off in the
franchise, but that is one thing that irks me about it. I'll be honest.
No, I mean, I see what you're saying. The only thing that kind of pissed me off a little bit was like in the first one where he put in like the knife in the outlet. I was like, aren't you gonna get electrocuted?
That wasn't what bothered me.
No, that bothered me. I don't mind the other stuff because it's like he's a pro, like, and these guys aren't professionals. Like he's a professional, but yes, they probably should. I mean, it's true. Like I like Steven Seagal in his heyday. I know some people hate on Seagal, but I don't care. Like that's what I like about Seagal. But even there were some moments, even if you watch Under Siege, he almost died, and the girl like saved him. So they still had, yes. I mean, even though he just got a little cut on his eye, and but yes, it gets played out if it's like you're kicking everyone's butt, as opposed to like a John McClane in Die Hard where he's like almost dying and bleeding out. But the thing is, those are still two different characters. John McClane isn't using Aikido whooping everyone's butt. It's a different type of scenario. I feel like this Denzel thing is more like he's a professional kicking, but yes, they could pepper in maybe a little more like some injuries and stuff. I get that, but I give it a little bit of a pass because he's more like being it's like the same with the Jason Bourne character. I mean, I guess did he really get injured that much either? I don't think he did.
He did,
but how much though?
He did. There were moments where he did still get wounded, and he still had like things.
But he still was kicking like it. But I mean, yeah, that's true. But I mean, I don't know. I still look at him like he's just a nonstop.
And I mean, I get your argument, but the same thing with John Wick too. He's quote unquote a professional, but again, like our character here, he was retired for a period of time, so things are not going to be as sharp. Like, don't get me wrong, you're still going to be dangerous, but
I think
a lot of those original reflexes or things that you had that came naturally to you now that you're older and you're a little more seasoned, you're not going to be able to do a lot of those things. So, some things are going to be a little like rough, like they're going to be a little.
But I think also John,
as they used to be.
But I think also John Wick, they have so many ridiculous action scenes in it that I guess people don't mind the ridiculous stuff. Because I mean, to me, in the end, it doesn't even matter either way. It's just like I don't mind if someone is badass and they're barely getting hurt, if like it makes like the scenarios make sense. And I mean, yeah, there might be some, but like with John Wick, like I said, the one that really pissed me off was the end. I was just like, how is he surviving after falling off the building? But I think what happens is the reason why you are probably I'm not saying just you, but like I think people probably forgive that a little bit is because like some of the action in John Wick is like so ridiculous. Like he killed a guy with like a book. I mean, because it's like so ridiculous, you just kind of like, okay, all right, whatever. And there's it's the tone too. It's the tone also, I think. Yeah.
I'll give you this. So I get what you're saying, and I absolutely agree with you, because that was like something that irked me too. I was like, how did he survive that? I give you that. Out of the whole franchise, that was ridiculous. But like going through the franchise thus far of what we've had with Equalizer, of if we're picturing, because it still comes on TV a lot, especially on FX. Like y'all can talk to me in the comments. Like it comes on FX a whole bunch, or on Paramount it comes on a whole lot, I want to say. But anyway, I digress. Is that in the first film, like towards the end, after he's already defeated the big bad or the big villain, and he like tries to clean house by taking out the whole rest of like the mafia, what have you, or whatever that gang is. He makes his way into the gangster's house, and I get it. I understand that he's trained, and then as he like defeats the gangster like by electrocuting him. I know we were talking about using the knife, right? By electrocuting him with the water and the appliances that he had in his bathroom, if I recall.
Yeah.
He walks out of the mansion, and you see that he's taking out every single person displayed out, and I'm like, bro, like what? Like
See, but
no,
I don't know. But the thing is, that's the
no,
character. He's a bad.
no,
But the
bro.
thing is, you
I
got to
get it.
remember. But I think what it is. No, I understand what you're saying. I think it just, and that's why people, like I said, the critics, they have their way of
And I
criticizing. I
like
get
the
it.
franchise. Like it's
But
cool. I get it.
but
It's
the thing is,
cool.
I feel like that's okay for that character because I'm believing he's his you know, to me that doesn't bother me as much because they're pretty much saying he's a one man army could take on all these people and he's a professional. You don't want to mess with the dude. But like I said, to me the main thing is I don't know. I'm just saying for what bothers me is just when they have stuff that's just like I said, illogical that you're just like, all right. It's kind of like with the Dark Knight Rises.
Making it back when his coworkers are in trouble in that movie, and he seems to like make it back to the store in like 5 minutes, and he's like halfway across town. Like I'm like, how did he make it all the way over there? Like,
well, that could just be editing, man. Like the time lapse, bro. I don't know, but no, but I think where it's more of an issue, like that, is just the tone. It's like if you set a certain tone and then it's supposed to be serious, believable, and then when you have shit that doesn't make sense, that's what bothers me more. But I get what you're saying. I mean, they're not the same types of film.
Again, I'm saying these things that irk me, and I enjoy the franchise. I like the franchise.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not. I'll be the first to tell you, like these aren't like the best like action movies. I mean, I just like because Denzel's in them. But you know, I think one of his best thriller films probably you could say would be like Inside Man. Like I love that. I think that's one of his best films. But because that was more than just about a heist and everything, and Spike Lee put his
and we do have a comment. What's up, Josh? Good morning. No, it's not going to, contradict with the Queen Latifah. That's
I don't think that's a spin-off. Yeah,
it's a separate. It happens to share the same name, but no, it's a separate thing from what we have with the films.
But what I will say is, like, I bet you, depending how well it does, I mean, they've done well enough. It'd be interesting because, like, if you really think about it. Well, actually, it's only the only franchise you really have that keeps going on with some badass like guy is like James Bond, where they switch people in and out. They haven't done that with Mission Impossible yet, even though Tom Cruise is like milking that franchise, and they haven't done it really with James Bond. No, but it's like it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see if they eventually try to have another. I'm not saying they should do that with this, but it'd be interesting maybe if they have like another franchise trying to compete with that, but. For me, I don't need that, but I don't know. It's just interesting seeing some of these actors in these certain roles that you don't always. I mean, of course, we've seen Denzel in like Man on Fire. He's been in a bunch. I mean, Deja Vu. He's done a lot of action films. But I feel like because he's older too, he's probably just like, hey man, let me like do some of these action flicks before I can't do them anymore. But it works for me. Like I like those type of films. I just think after this one it should probably be, probably end. But hey, it's a different type of action flick. Maybe they'll add something to the story that could be a little more interesting than the same old. But I'm watching to see Denzel kick some ass.
All right. So hopping into our last story, you guys saw it in the title. We had a little teaser that made the rounds at the top of this week, and that's none other than Thor: Love and Thunder, the teaser for the upcoming 4th installment of the Thor franchise. There were a lot of things that were teased in this trailer, and there were some things that we didn't see. But I want to get into it with you, Jerome, because that one thing that a lot of people are talking about that they didn't see, I'm going to argue that we did see.
What? Okay, what is that?
So I want to get into, let me share up the trailer with you guys. And I'll pull it up now. Okay, so playing forth and just going down, I'll play it a little bit into snippets and I'm going to pause them. And a lot of this, mind you, a lot of people have shared already, so a lot of it will be a review for you, but there will be some new things that I want to talk about that I don't feel like is getting enough attention. So, of course, we have Thor, as a kid, and we have him in his old school garb here, which is cool. Marvel is pretty awesome when it comes to their iterations of their superheroes and the various costumes that they wore. We saw it in Captain America, where like that old school Captain America garb we had in that like propaganda kind of play that was in the first Avenger. So it's nice that they have a nod to it here. And then, skipping forward, we have a look at some of the new costumes that Thor is going to, take on over the course of the film. So we have a tease of it here, one that has kind of that fur related, garb. I guess you could say kind of like that Viking related inspiration that we see here. But I want to fast forward a little further. And I know a lot of people are saying, is Thor, retiring? No, he's not retiring, but he, apparently in this film, he's
It
going to
could be for a little bit. Looks like he's taking a little break.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
he's taking a vacation.
Yeah,
like he's stepping down from his main duties. Maybe he's
right. Like he's going.
He's a consultant. He's a consultant Asgardian now.
he's like evaluating his life and trying to really try to figure out like
he's taking a sabbatical.
Okay,
he's taking a sabbatical. That's what I'll say. He's taking an Asgardian sabbatical.
Okay, so skipping forward, of course, we have this hilarious scene of him like working out of trying to get back in shape, which I found funny. And then we have this garb here that we see, which is a callback, or I should say, a nod to that costume that he has as Thunderstrike, of course. But in this moment, apparently he has the title of Ravager Thor. So Ravager being that group that the Guardians are part of. If you guys are not aware, from there, that Guardians of the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. Because if you recall, at the end of Endgame, Thor had left off with the Guardians and left Asgard in the care of Valkyrie. All right, so we have that moment, of course. So I'm picturing, they'll probably be here, in the portion of the top of the movie. And then, of course, as we're seeing here, he's going to go on a journey himself. We do have the famous, and this is actually a part of Norse mythology, the goats that he has here. I'm brain farting on the two names of the goats, so forgive me. But yes, it's not just something that's Marvel related. It is a part of Norse mythology. And then we have this destination here, which a lot of people are saying that will likely be, Olympus, or say Olympia. We have this place here, which, we talked about it before, of just that idea that we will obviously have, cameos of other gods, because how can you have a villain like Gorr the God Butcher and I have gods that are going to be cannon fodder for him to actually, take out and kill over the course of the movie, just to show, how powerful he is. We have this scene here, which we see with the Thunderbolt, and
probably Russell Crowe.
Yep, I will continue to pat myself on the back of saying that,
Oh yeah, it looks like you can tell from the side. Yeah, Zeus. Yeah, that's probably
Russell Crowe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Russell.
He's probably gonna get killed. He'll probably get killed by. I bet you Christian. Yeah, they're like, I'm like, who's gonna kill Zeus like that? You need Wonder Woman's help.
And that's what I'm picturing is going to happen. I'm picturing that he is going to.
I'm glad they didn't show God. I'm Gorr the God Butcher. I'm glad they didn't show him at all. Like, it's good. This is the type of teaser. Take notes, everybody. You get a little glimpse of everything, but you don't know what the hell is going on. Good job, Taika Waititi, Marvel, and everybody. Because I don't know exactly what's going on, but it looks good. Don't stop trying to tell the whole story in your trailer, please. Not you.
So I'm picturing that. Yeah, this is Thor here. Oh, not Thor. Excuse me, Zeus. That we're seeing here, played by Russell Crowe. And we're seeing him, in Olympus here. Now we have another moment here, and
who's that? That
this is actually another god, and I'm again also brain farting, on the name. You guys could drop it here in the comics, but it is actually a shot-by-shot inspiration from the Thor comics on actually this run that happened in which Gorr the God Butcher appears, where they're actually trying to figure out what's happening, with all these gods that are being taken out. And it's kind of like a cat and mouse game where you're actually having Thor seeing the ramifications of, Gorr's quest of taking out all these gods. So you have that moment there. And I wanted to skip forward. So we have this moment, of course, with Valkyrie. As I said, Thor left Asgard in the care of Valkyrie, as its leader. And we also, of course, we have that component. She talked about it in the panel that I attended, and you guys can check it out. I'll try to put the link in the comments for you guys, or I'll place it, up in this video, the link for it. But basically, she's looking, for her, her partner in order to rule Asgard, or New Asgard, if you will. So that's going to likely be a subplot. We have this moment here. I know we had that moment with Zeus before, so we have this moment with Olympia. And if we're looking down below, we do have some characters down there. We have some characters with some capes. If you can notice, if you can, see down there. Let me see if I can solo it out for you guys so you guys can see more closely. But yeah, we do have some characters down there. And as I said, a lot of this is review, but I'm going to get into some new things too. So we have two characters with capes. So I'm picturing those are our two. That's going to be our two Thors. So on our right, looks like on
It looks like Korg on the right, probably.
yeah, Korg and Thor looks like, and then we also have Mighty Thor, and I will picture that we also have Valkyrie down here as well.
Okay.
So skipping ahead, we have this hilarious moment with Thor and Star Lord, and we'll see. Like, I don't know if they're going to. Well, we already have that component with Valkyrie, but I don't know if they're going to tackle like more of uh, the characterization with what is it, with Star Lord. They may not have enough time to get into the recent characterization with him and his preference, if you will. So we'll see. So going into that, one thing that I also wanted to get into is skipping forward to what we have with
Yeah, I was about to. This is what I
Mighty
wanted to
Thor.
comment on.
So we
Where's
have this
Hela?
thing.
Because that looks like the one that Hela broke.
So we
That's what it
have
looks like to
this,
me.
and from what I understand, and I have no proof of this, but like the understanding is a lot of people are asking, why is Mjolnir broken or cracked? And apparently, from what I've what's been shared is that it has been because of the enchantment of it's been theorized because of the enchantment of what's his name of gosh of gosh, this is bad. Thor's dad of
Odin.
Odin. Thank you, gosh, of Odin, because of that enchantment that he placed on Mjolnir.
Milner. Oh, I see.
Yeah, because of that enchantment, that it actually reforms
If you're
when
worthy
Jane
or
comes
something.
near it, and it's probably because of Thor being off world and they don't that place not having a protector, and Jane being worthy, at that point to take that on, is that she actually is able unintentionally to reform Mjolnir. So we have that component there. We have a look at Jane, of course, here, which as you could tell, she's been working out in order to be able to do this role. But there've been other set photos too that have showed her look where she's super jacked. So that should be fun. Now, one thing that I wanted to rewind to is that in this, a lot of people have been saying, oh, we haven't been given a look at Gorr the God Butcher. And if you guys are not aware, Gorr the God Butcher is going to be the new villain in Thor Love and Thunder. And he'll be portrayed by none other than Christian Bale. So we have Batman joining the MCU to be the villain going up against Thor. And we have these unseen characters, if we're noticing in the background, that are fighting. It appears to be some of Asgardians, because as we know, we have New Asgard there, and they still have their armies and everything there. So I'm picturing that this is happening on New Asgard, and that you have the characters here fighting. But what are they fighting? Because it looks like they're kind of tentacled creatures that are black, all black. And if we're following the way that the comics play out, and let me back up just a little
Where are
bit
those
more
tentacle
here.
creatures? Oh, I
See
mean,
that? You see this tentacle here in the left? So if I play it a little bit, you see
okay,
that?
all right.
So
Oh, I
so we have
see.
those tentacles, tentacles in place. And so in with the comics, Gorr is able to produce, henchmen in order to,
Okay.
fight others, and they're called, black berserkers. So you have that component. But the theory that I want to get into is that a lot of people were saying that, oh, well, they don't have, Gorr the God Butcher in here. But my theory is this: what if they did have him in this teaser. So a lot of times, if we're picturing these henchmen that he can, form out of, him having the all black sword, the necro sword. What if this is a tease of what he is going to look like in the manner that we're accustomed to? Because I know we were showing the toy, I want to say a couple of shows ago, of how he just basically looked like a very, opaque, nightmarish monk. But, what if, and I know people have brought this up, that the symbiote actually corrupts him enough over the course of the film that he ends up getting that appearance with the tentacles and all of that. And now, these henchmen that he's able to produce is giving us a tease of what the symbiote is going to do to him. So if it is in fact giving us a tease of what his look will be like, you can arguably say that we do have a very, very slight hint of what Gorr will look like based on what we're seeing here. So,
but I'm curious to know how far they would go into that, because you got to remember. I mean, I know Marvel can have characters that are in their universe. Obviously, like with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, when Fox wasn't owned by Disney and they had their own. I'm just wondering with Sony though, because you know how Sony's really trying to lock down their. I mean, they made their deal with Marvel to keep having Spider-Man in there, so it's like they're trying to keep Venom separately. I'm not saying he's Venom, but like if it's a similar, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much they would go into that, but hey, man, if they can find a way to just be like, yo.
Well, here's the thing.
Let's take over that,
and then we can hit off, because I know we need to.
No, I know.
But here's what I'll say to that is that in the last, if we're going back closely to the end of the last Venom movie, Let There Be Carnage, it was teased that the symbiote has this, existence on a multiversal level, and that's how it remembers all these things, is because it actually shares those memories across universes. So, you could say, and then on top of that too, like, if you have that rule already in place, Sony's not going to keep that component out of, or like say that Disney or Disney/Marvel can't do that if it means that it's going to mess up the relationship that they have. I'm sure that they discussed this far ahead of time of, hey, can we use this prior to them potentially using it. And then we still don't know. It comes out in July, so they may not even go down that road. But if they did go down that road, then I'm sure it was already discussed behind closed doors of what that would look like. And then on top of that, the symbiote appeared. I'm sorry, spoiler alert, but the symbiote appeared at the end of what was it? What movie was that where we saw the symbiote arrive? In
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, which didn't even really make any sense. But anyway.
but still, yeah. So, but we already have it established, though, even without that the symbiote exists on a multiversal level, and that it shares that hive mind across the multiverse. So I don't know if they're going to explore it further, but at least the president has been set that that's how it works.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I don't know, man, but hey, I have faith in Taika Waititi. I mean, he's a good director, so he did a great job with the last one. So I'm looking forward to this. But yeah, man, we got Doctor Strange 2 coming out soon, and I heard there's a whole bunch of crazy. I was hearing there might be the Tom Cruise version of Iron Man.
We do,
which would be hilarious if he is in there.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Because I remember he was supposed to be Iron Man, but anyway, that's another story. I know you got it balanced. But all right. So with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap up this edition of This Week in Review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Just remember that you can be a part of the conversation by using that hashtag TWnRMNSU. So that's This Week in Review, Movers and Shakers Unlimited. So whether you're joining us live or if you're seeing this as an archive episode, know also that you can be a part of the conversation with us on social media. Make sure you follow us on Instagram right there down below at Movers Shakers Unlimited, and also on Twitter at Move and Shake UNLTD. The same goes for Facebook as well. And Jerome, I'm going to punt it over to you. We have another component of it as well that I'm going to drop. But first off, can you tell people where they can find you? Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at JW Bourgeois 21. That's JW Bourgeois 21. And I mean, last I don't know if you're gonna say, but hey, if you want to support us on Patreon, you go to patreon.com/movershakers unlimited. Just share with friends, family, and also give us feedback. Let us know what you want us to cover or what you want us to talk about. This is what we do for you guys. And go on YouTube, subscribe, like, click the bell, and you'll get the feed. So you can see stuff that's happening. There's gonna be some really interesting stuff happening. You'll see. We've been posting, and I know you're gonna share some stuff too. So, but I'll punt it back to you, Brandon. But yeah, thanks for joining us. It's we love bringing you the entertainment news first and discussing it.
Indeed. And then also, shame on you, Jerome. I'm gonna give a shout out to Jerome Bourgeois.
It sounds better when you do it, man. Because whatever. You're right.
All right,
my bad. I know she still hasn't got a birthday card yet either. This is the mail in Korea, man. What's wrong? I sent it a while back. I know, bad brother. It's all good. She's still happy though.
Be there as a May, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this week in review. This week, be sure to join us next week for some new news bits. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Be safe out there, and I'll see you soon. Peace.